All right, ladies and gentlemen, um, thank you so much for that, Andrew, just now for the session. So we're moving on to our next session, which is, do you want to know more about how to achieve happiness through mental and emotional experiences balance? So today we have our speakers with us today, which is the Executive VP of Human Resources for TDCX, which is Mr. Chee Gay. He has more than 20 years of experience in HR, manufacturing, IT, and supply chain. And this varied experience has enabled him to reinvent and transform HR outside in during his career. He has been awarded National HR Leader of the Year in 2018 and HR Professional of the Year in 2019 respectively. Ladies and gentlemen, let's learn to be more happy with Mr. Chee Gay. Please welcome.
Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, I'd like to thank the staff for inviting me to this very close to my heart topic, work-life wellness. So my name again is Chee Gay from TDCX, and our tagline on our employer value proposition is actually be happier. So today I'm going to share with you about how to achieve happiness through mental and emotional experience balance. So the keyword that what I'm going to do is how to, which what you're going to have, the tips that I'm going to give it to you all. Happiness is the word, how to achieve happiness. The other keyword that I'm going to talk about is emotion and mental balance. So let me go to a little bit more about my journey before I go into the topics. If you look at my career, I started my career in Intel, and then I moved to Astro in KL in the T system, a German company, Samsung. Then I moved to AIA, and now I'm in TDCX as a group executive vice president for TDCX. That we have more than 10,000 employees across 10 locations. So you look at all these companies. Actually, my job is the company is a high performing company and is a very high demanding organization. As a HR leader, I just want to share with you my experience on how I cope with the stress and all these company, whether it's an American company, German company, or Korean company. And that require what HR leaders today, that how my roles is supposed to transform the organization. So let me talk to you about TDCX. It's also a very fast-paced and demanding company as we are growing at 80% year after year. This year we are projected to grow even in this COVID-19 at 36%. So it's still a very demanding year for us. So that's pretty much about career. Just to let you know, I'm actually in an environment that's very demanding, high performing, and how I cope with the stress. The other one is I just want to let you know, I celebrated my 50 years and 25 years anniversary. So I'm married to my wife named Jean. I have two daughters. They are high performers and smart daughters. I'm proud of them. They will be furthering their studies to UK. One of them is on medicine and the other one on the chemical engineering. So I also want to share with you how I support my family as demanding of the job that run parallel in my whole years of 25 years as a married man. So let me go through what I'm going to cover for today's agenda. I'm sure all of you got challenges, which I'm going to cover that. I'm going to talk a little bit about emotion experience and what are the factors that drive emotion experience, whether it's happiness, whether it's sad, whether it's stress, whether it's relaxed. So I'm going to mention that. Time management, a lot of my staff or my friends asking me, how do I manage my time? So I'm going to talk about my secret in terms of how I manage time and how I prioritize what matters. Stress management is going to be key, especially in today's environment. And how do you manage stress? You can't avoid stress, but you can manage stress. We're going to talk about it. And some of the key takeaway of how to and choose to, the 6 effective habits. And I'm going to recap of the day, okay, of my 30 minutes. So happiness is a consequences of personal effort. And if you look at all these keywords, these are the keywords that align to happiness. Love, the 4 most used word, love. This is very, very important in our life. That you love your job, you love yourself, you love your family, that's key. The other word on the 5-letter words is called pleasing, which is smile. It's free. And how today we smile in our life. And this is one of the secrets I have. And a lot of people ask me, how do I smile every day, even in this stress and demanding work that has been chartered to me? Success is very, very important. That associate to happiness. Success, whether to your life, whether to your work, is going to be matter. And that's what the 7-letter words means. The other words that come to my mind will be the 9 letters, which is a powerful word called knowledge. I always mention that don't chase money, chase knowledge. Reward will come to you, and happiness will come to you. And last that we cannot forego is the 10 very important and valuable words, friendship and relationship. These keywords is actually aligned to happiness. And what are the effort that we focus on all these areas that will give you all happiness? So that's what I'm going to cover later on. I actually got this chart recently. I talk about recession. Can you see? It's very scary on 2020, the downturn compared to the rest of the downturn. But what I want to share with you, in life there will be ups and downs. There's going to be downturn in our life. And how foundation help us to handle the downturn. And this is a good example, even the COVID-19. Especially day after day, we hear people who are going to be retrenched and are retrenched, and how they are coping with that. And foundation that they have is going to be very key. And that's why you hear why celebrity commit suicides. It's because we don't know them, what actually in them. The inner is more important than outer. So that's what I'm going to share to you, that it is more about your inner behavior that will build your foundation, and is anything downturn, solo, sad, failure, you can manage it through in this area. And COVID-19 is one of the good examples that is a steep downturn. And how do you manage that? If you ask me, in my life, do I have more success? The answer is yes. I have more success and positive memories. But do I have downturn? Do I have failure? The answer is also yes. Whether it's a work and life, but I manage it. And whether, if you ask me, my health, I'm very, very healthy. My physical health, my physical vitality age is below 30. Okay? But one of the things incident that happened to me in the year 2012 is that I was faced with sleep disc. So with a sleep disc, doctor have advised me to go for surgery, but I don't. And how do I actually overcome sleep disc? And today, doctor advised me not to run marathon. I run marathon yearly after 2 years of slowdown. And that's also one of the reasons why I moved into triathlon. We swim, cycle, and also what we call running. And I overcome even sleep disc with my cycling. I can't even cycle 20 kilometers previously, and how I moved from 20 to 40 kilometers and even to 90 kilometers, and I completed half Ironman a year ago. As you know, nowadays we have to slow down because there's no event going on. But just to share with you that each and every one of us do go through downturn, but foundation is going to be very key for us. This is an area that I want to talk about you, that all of us will go through this in one end. And this doesn't align to happiness. Challenges doesn't align to happiness. Being bored without purpose, you don't want to do that. Okay, as I always mention, that don't be good in all these areas. Because when you are good in all these areas, you will have challenges to achieve happiness. And that is the reason why I always tell people not to complain. Because if you keep complaining, you will be good in complaining. So anything, the behavior that you will keep doing, you will be good in. And don't be good in this area. Psychology pain. A lot of people can't get off from a psychology pain and solo. And this is where it's actually not aligned to the happiness. What a lot of the what we call employees, even anyone today do face negativity to themselves, self-esteem. So it's very important that you don't look at everything on yourself that you can't do. Okay, and everything that come to you is not your problem, it's somebody else. Somebody else issues, that's why you are the consequences of that. Not all acknowledging the good and the positive is another one. that everything come to you is always negative. Anything happen to you, incident to you, happen to you is always negative. Even in the workplace, when you got the opportunity of job, and there's a lot of time you say that that's going to be a burden to me, rather than this is called opportunity. So a lot of people don't acknowledge the good work or good effort that the company is doing for them. And the other one is also what happened a lot as a humankind is comparing. And always in the induction, I always share with the new joiners that you will be happy right now because you joined a new company, maybe you got a big jump in your salary. But later, 3 months or 6 months, you will get frustrated or unhappy. Do you know why? Because you compare. You compare that somebody have a higher salary. You compare somebody have a higher benefit. You compare somebody have a dedicated car park. Somebody have a bigger cubicles. You compare your boss bias to others. So all this comparison is not aligned to happiness. Pessimistic is another one. How we look at life, how we look at opportunity, whether it's half full or half empty. So this is going to be very, very important when perception, when the behavior, how we face opportunity, whether this has become a burden to us. Especially when our boss giving you the opportunity, and don't call it as a burden or additional workload, but take it as an opportunity. And I do that a lot. And that's why it allowed me to grow over the years. Worrying about small matters rather than the big, what matters to you. So one of the things that I'm going to share with you is look at the big stone. Don't get worried about small things. Don't get worried that people don't like you, for example, and you keep worrying. All these are not aligned to happiness. And these are all called challenges. The least that you face this, the least that you have all this behavior, the better you will be. I'm sure as a human being, you will face all this. But the key is how do you able not to master in all these areas. Okay, as I always mention, if you are good in complaining, you will be good in complaining. Okay, so let me go through some of my secret. This is pretty much my secret in terms of how I manage emotion experience. And I like formulas. So I want to share with you a few formulas of my life journey. And a lot of time people become unhappy. One is because of love. Relationship, love, play a very important part. That's one. The second part, whether you like it or not, money. Money cannot buy happiness, but money can also make you not happy. Okay, especially in today's environment where you lost your job and you need to support your families. Okay, and the last one, that a lot of also unhappiness is about your health, whether you like it or not. Even in a career, as a HR leaders, we do face a lot of health issues even in the organization, in and out. And be healthy is actually a blessing. And don't take it for granted. But so these are the three areas that I just want to let you know will drive your emotional experience, whether it's happy, whether it's sad, whether it's stressed, whether you relax. Okay, so let me talk about a little bit more detail about on the area of relationship, and this is what I focus. Families. Family is very important. I'm very lucky enough to have very supportive family. Okay, they will support me, and every time when I need them, they will give me encouragement, and that is very, very important. Whether your parents, whether your family, close friend. It's not about the quantity of your friends, it's about the quality of your friends that will be with you during your downturn, when you need them. And when we want to rejoice with them, these are all very, very important. And your colleague. And one of the quotes that I also mentioned, show me your friends, show me your colleague, I'll show you your future. It's very important. So I'm very lucky to be in a company of a good culture that I'll be surrounded with all the good stuff. And that's what also changed my behavior and how I progress over the years. So the relationship is something that very, very important that impact towards to your emotional experience, that you need to manage it. Okay? Whether you like it or not, money is also a very important element. The financial, your career. And I'm going to show you how I balance that later on. But it's very important that you can't ignore your career and money, because it can become one of the factors that will become a burden to you. I'm just happy enough that I work hard over the years, that I have enough financially strong to support my two daughters' ambition. They are very smart lady, a straight A student over the years. And they further their study now in UK. And you know that it's very expensive. And I'm just glad that I have worked hard over the years that enable them to support them. And that's all, that has become my dream in the day one when I married and when I have my first kids in 1997. And I just want to let you know that this is an area. So career, do focus on it, and don't be lazy, okay? I'm sure that none of you will say that you're lazy, but how do you able to work smart and how do you able to productive? That's the most important thing. Then don't let wellness impact your productivity. And the last one, which is more important, over the last 10 years, I've been an advocate of wellness. And that's why work-life wellness is very close to me. And I'm actually a role model for that. And I've always been a role model. Then I can share with you what I do today have no different from when I was in the 20 years, because I have the same energy level as what I used to be. And the whole reason is all go back to your inner behavior and mindset. It's about how you take care of your health, because don't take that for granted. And also sleep well. I'm also guilty for sleeping. I used to sleep 4 hours, but now knowing that sleep is important, I'm trying to sleep more than 5 to 6 hours right now. Of course, I'm trying to achieve 7 hours. But I just want to share with you, these 3 areas is what I always manage to make sure that I am able to have a good memories and happiness more in my whole career, in my whole life, than sadness, than downturn and failure. So that is what you want, okay? But when you have any of these obstacles, how do you manage it? So this is my formula in terms of happiness. The other thing that I also want to share with you is, I mentioned about just now about what matters to you. Put important thing first. So this is a very good illustration about jar of life. Put the big stone into the jar first, which matters to you, and then only put the sands. Don't put the sands in your life first and then only put the big stone, because they have no place for you later on. Because each and every one of you have 24 hours. And that's why one of my messages is 24 by 1. How do you do more in your big stone and in the 24 hours? And that's why my message is also about 24 plus 1. I like formula. So I like to share with you, do more each year, do more each month in your big stone, and do less in your sands. So that is very, very important, because each and every one of us got 24 hours. And how do you manage that? Okay, which lead me to my next slide. It's a very full of pictures, okay? But I have 4 quadrants of pillars that in what I call a big stone in my life. I call it 4 by 1. Let me share the 4 first. Relationship with your family, your close friend is very important. I spend almost 30% of my time. This is about time. 21% on that area. Okay? And I always say relationship and career will give you the most stress in your whole life. The other 2 usually distress for me, which I'm going to come to that. But relationship and career is very, very important, and it go hand to hand. And I always mention that work-life integration is more important, and a lot of people call it work-life balance, but I always mention about work-life integration because it's a mirror for each other. You do well in your life, you will do well in your career. You do well in your career, you will do well in your life. But you need to focus then and don't take that for granted. All this require effort. Effort is a key word. I just want to share with each and every one of you. Don't take anything for granted. Don't take your career for granted. Okay? And also don't take relationship for granted. Invest in that. This is key. And I spent 32 hours, no, 32%, not 32 hours, 32% of my time in average on that. And a lot of also people ask me, will it fluctuate? Yes, it will fluctuate, but then you know how to prioritize. Career is also important, because if you do well in career, you will also achieve happiness. You have one area that you have less burden on, with financial, when you are old. And you know that today a lot of our what we call employees, and also everyone that majority of today have not much, more than 200K in their EPF for their retirement. And this is actually a very sad news. And recently, there is a figure came out from the what we call B40, M40, and also T40, or T20. T is only 20. Okay, and you can see that B20, B40 and M40 is less than 10,000 as a household income. That is pretty sad, right? So this is where today is covered, and all this will help your productivity. And this is what I always call effort. You need to invest in your effort in these two areas and surrounded by good people. So you will know that whether you will be surrounded by good people, the things that you discuss each and every day, are you talking about gossip, or are you really spend time on opportunity? Do you use a positive words, or do you use a negative words? All this will impact your happiness later on. I mentioned to you that wellness is one thing that I do take care, because this is where it will help you to maintain your productivity, your energy level. And this is a secret that I have. A lot of people ask me, how do I have the energy from the morning to at night and able to maintain my energy level? The answer is one area is wellness, and wellness cover also what you eat. Spend time to eat well. Spend time to what we call exercise. Spend time to sleep. So this area will cover the other 20% of my time. And you know that even in a triathlon is a very demanding. So I exercise every day, and this is what I call the independent willingness that I spend. And the reason behind that is because I know that this is one big stone that I need to manage. If I want to do well, if I want to be productive in my relationship, in my career, I need to do well. I need to spend time on my wellness. Okay? And the wellness can also become a distress. So when I exercise, it's actually a distress mechanism for me. Okay? And of course, somebody who like to sleep. Sleep is good, but don't oversleep. So all do this is the moderating, not do one in the extreme. And the one thing that I also want to share is about consistency. It is not about you exercising for 1 year and then you go back to your previous behavior. It is not consistent. The consistency is what I learned in my journey, and that is what I want to share. The last thing in a job, even my time, I like to impact others' life. That is what, and that's why I'm in a HR. I was IT by background, but I moved to HR because one of my ambition is to impact the life of others. And today, coming out for this session is also an investment for me. And that's under the passion, because I like to share my experience. And I do that as part of my 5% of passion. I also teach to the HR managers through MRHRM. I do spend the time, even in this heavy time, my very demanding job. I do train HR managers. I'm also an advocate of life saving, which today, if you go to pool, that's my job, to make sure that all the lifeguards are well trained and able to make the pool safe. And I'm actually a chairman of life saving sports. And I train Malaysia team in the life saving, and I do spend time on that. And I do organize life saving and also life saving sports events for the Malaysia. And I'm part of the think tank for the Malaysia Society. The other thing that I also have an opportunity to tell you, that one of the skills that you shouldn't be ignoring is called CPR. This is what I call the most important skill that each and every one of you should have. And I like to take this opportunity to share with you that I do spend time to conduct CPR training to people who need it. And I encourage you also to acquire this skill, cardiopulmonary resuscitation, because you don't know when you will need it. So I teach that, and I love dancing. I can actually spend more time in the dance floor than any youngsters, because I love that. So I just want to let you know, getting and passionate with what you do is very, very important, because this can become your distress. And I spend almost 5% of my time on that area, including today, that I come to share my experience to each and every one of you. So I just want to share with you these 4 big stones. The other big stone that I put 4 minus 1 is actually your relationship with your God. Prayer is very important too. When anything becomes impossible, pray. Okay? When you need it, whether you believe or not, it will help you. Okay? Because that's what I've been experiencing. So this is what I always call 4 plus 1, big stone in my life. Once you focus on it, you can have any other sand in your jar. But I just want to share with you how I balance my life. And this is what a lot of people have been asking me, how do I manage my time? In that everyone have 24 hours per day. This is it. The next one I also want to share about formula. Stress management. People talk about stress. To me, you can't avoid stress, but you can manage stress. And it's go by 2 key factors. One is your expectation, your dream, your target, your value, your expectation. The other one is your capacity, your ability, your knowledge, your attitude. Okay? If your capacity is higher than your expectation, you have less stress, that's for sure. And maybe you get bored. Okay? You should increase your expectation. Okay? Maybe join company like me, TDCX, where we want a very talented people. That raise your expectation. You should join because you have a higher capacity. Okay? But when you have a low capacity that cannot match with your expectation, that is where the stress will come in. And that can become positive and negative. You want positive because it's a goal that you want to achieve. You don't want any negative as impact you or impact your performance, impact your productivity. So that is where you need to be able to improve your capacity. And that's what I always say, like school students, when they go to exam, some of the good students, they will say that they don't have stress because they are well prepared, their capacity is high. So it's going to be sub-sub-sui for them, easy for them, in other words, okay? So what I'm trying to say that is that improve your capacity, and the key word, keep learning. Keep learning. Keep changing. That's a key word, especially in COVID-19, disruption, change. Okay? Expectation, improve. You can increase your expectation. One, you increase your capacity. So this is where I just want to share with you that how I manage my stress. Okay? Improve my capacity that I can continue to increase or have a higher goal or higher ambition. But when I have stress, I can lower down the expectation to manage my capacity. But don't make your capacity same size. I'm not talking about your stomach capacity. Of course, it will increase. But I'm talking about capacity of your ability, your knowledge, your attitude, your wisdom. Build them. Spend time on that area through learning. And sometimes it will involve relearning. Stress have more positive than negative. So this is one area that I want to share with you how I manage stress. Of course, there's a lot of books, but I came up with this formula. Expectation minus capacity equals to stress. Okay? So you can increase your capacity. You were able to increase your expectation. Okay? That will have less stress. Take an analogy like exam. Next one, 6 habits. So I'm going into the last few minutes talking about how to. And this is the habits that I like to share with you, and I'll also encourage you to keep doing. Eat well. Over the years, I do spend last time. I just want one thing that I share in my whole journey. I always drink coffee. I love coffee. I love Starbucks, for example. I have used a lot of sugar, 4 packets of sugar each day. Today, I don't take any sugar. 0 sugar. I know sugar is not good because I want to avoid diabetes. Eat well. Eat routine. Don't overeat. Like our Tun mentioned, this is key. Exercise well. spend a little bit, and consistently is more important. That is very important, and I exercise every day. I spend time to exercise every day in my journey because it's actually a distress element for me. Sleep well, although I'm not doing well in this area. I only sleep like 5 hours per day, sometimes 6, weekend maybe 7, but sleep well because you need a strong body, a healthy body, and a sharp mind in your new day. Okay, pray well. When anything is not possible, pray. Okay, and the other one that is very, very important is connect well. Make friends. Get around that. Learn from people. It's very, very important. And prioritize well, as I mentioned about your big stone. Prioritize well. If you do this well, psychology, physically, mentally, and spiritual, you will be very, very strong. And that is how you manage your emotion experience. That you will have more happiness than sad. You will be more relaxed and enjoying your life than stress. Remember that, enjoying your life. And one keyword that I also want to share with you, enjoy each moment. So it's about mindfulness. Don't worry about future. Yeah, of course you have a long-term goal, but always enjoy the moment. You will enjoy your life. Okay, what the word called YOLO, you only live once. Okay. This is my last slide, one of my last slides, and it talk about how to and choose to. I use the word choose to because it's all go back to you. It's your choice. So that's why I say it's not about how to, it's about choose to. I can share about it today, but are you choose to? You need to choose to be positive. Think everything positive. The more that you be positive, the better you will be. Willingness to change. That's what I call independent willingness. And this is also associated to initiative. So you need to take a step. If you don't exercise, take a small step to exercise. The willingness to change must be there. And that willingness to change cannot be trained. I can't train you on initiative. But just remember my word, it's an effort that you need to do. And that's why I say this is called inner behavior that will be more important than the outer. And have dream and purpose. Because you will go through ups and downs in your life and in your career. I've been through for the last 25 years in my career. 50 years in my life, there will be up and down. But the most important thing, I do have a goal. Each and every time. Whether short term and long term. And the goal is the one that keeps me going. And all my goals has nothing is surrounding me. It's surrounding my family, it's surrounding other things, impacting others. It doesn't surround me. And that is very, very important. So I just want to share with you, and the key word there is consistent. Don't be good in 1 year and slack in another year. Consistent is not what you start, it is what you end. Okay? And my last slide, if you cannot remember, I just want to recap again to each and every one of you. And thank you so far for listening to me. And the key takeaway for each and every one of you is relationship plus financial and plus you is your health equal to emotion experience that you will have. Whether it's more happiness, sad, more stressful, or enjoying what you're doing. Stress level is always equivalent to goal and ambition minus capacity. Improve your capacity through learning. Keep learning is what I'm sharing with you all. 6 is better habit. Eat well, exercise well, sleep well, pray well, connect well, and prioritize well in your big stone. It's very, very important. Do that frequently. You will be good in doing so. And the jar of life, the most important thing I mentioned to you that I shared with you 4+1. Put important thing first in your life. What matters to you? Okay? Because you will remember all these memories. So with that, I would like to end my sharing, and I thank you very much for staying with me. Thank you very much for listening that. I hope that I give you the insight. I hope that I'm sharing some key takeaway for each and every one of you. Terima kasih. Thank you very much. 谢谢. Done.
Alright, thank you so much, Chee Gay, for the sharing just now. Somehow I feel so motivated to be more happy in my life. So I guess if you feel the same like me, you can always interact with us. Let us know if you feel happier now, or now you know what to do. Because all this time, people will be saying, hey, be happy, but they never actually share on how really to be happy. And we actually received a lot of questions from the audience, and I think everyone is very eager to learn about happiness. So Chee Gay, first question for you is from Wong. If an employee at the managerial level is already burnt out at current workplace, with your experience, do you think it is better for employer to help them to stand up again, or grant the employee's wish to leave so that they could find themselves again at another place? Yeah. So what do you think, Chee Gay, about this?
So I can speak on it because I'm a HR leader. Yeah, burnout do happen in the world, especially in the companies and in my journey, because you have a high demanding, high performing culture, right? And also competition. You will have that. The most important thing is that don't keep quiet. I always encourage employee, don't keep quiet. Raise it out to your managers. And I do face that too. Let me share with you. I do face employee come to me as a HR leaders that they burn out. And as what we can do, sometimes we grant that sabbatical. Sometimes we grant that leave or absence because we know that they are not productive. So we will grant them and we will support them. So that's why my encouragement is, you are right, that raise out to your employee, raise out to your managers, raise out to HR. They will help you. And they will help you for you to take some time off, for you to regenerate, for you to recharge, and then come back again strong. And again, as I mentioned, in your stress level of burnout, it's all about expectation minus capacity. When you come back, make sure that you have and improve your capacity, or reducing the expectation so that your capacity can match. So this is why I always mention the key word here, have a dialogue. Have dialogue. Don't keep it to yourself. Your burnout will turn into depression. And I'm very sad if anything of this happened to my staff or to any one of you. So I always mention, that's why it's all about dialogue and relationship. That is what my message to this question.
Okay, thank you. So now we have another question from Kyung. Being Asian working adults, most of us are still stuck with our responsibility towards our family expectations, with its traditional mindset which is most probably not that relevant in the current age. For example, starting family at a young age, and etc. So how can we manage these increasingly pressured life expectations better while also trying to survive and thrive in this fast-paced IR 4.0, 5.0, and so on? Yeah, what do you think?
I think that I have a few keywords. The one first keyword, don't compare. It's your own pace. Run at your own pace. You will be good in that. Just like how I start triathlon, how I start marathon, how I start my swimming. Start your own pace, because each and every one of us have a capacity that how we manage. Don't compare. But when you build your capacity, you will be good or even better than others that you admire before. So that is the other word of called consistency. So there's two keywords here. Don't compare, consistency. Start small. Start where you can. I know there's a lot of pressure, and I also say age is a number. I encourage youngsters, age is a number. It doesn't mean you cannot be CEO young age. It doesn't mean you cannot be good in a young age. It's a number. Okay? So what I'm trying to say here, and it doesn't say that your friends all doesn't start family early and you are ready. You start family. When you are ready and you find the right people, start family whether you are young or not, because you are ready. Okay? So that's why don't compare. You know your pace, set your pace. Because it is not about how you start. It's about how we end. And that has been my learning over the years. Consistency. Because if you are consistency with positive mind, you will keep achieving and they will grow over the years. Trust me in that, and you use that, the pressure will go away, because there will be a pressure in your journey. I don't say I also got a pressure, but you manage it at your own pace and don't compare.
Alright, it's so cool. So we have more questions from the audience. From Mary, the strawberry generation. They are major fighter for work-life balance, which also means most rarely go to the extra mile to get things done or to experience more in this hyper-competitive economy, new crisis environment, etc. So how can we encourage and nurture them to be more productive, not only for the business, but for themselves as well?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So remember I mentioned it's about choice. So now I hear strawberry generation. Okay, I like the word strawberry. But strawberry is delicious, right? And it's red, it's attractive. So there is a lot of meaning to that, even the fruits itself. But what I'm trying to say here is that, yes, I always call work-life integration. And some people will choose to be more focused on life than career. Yeah, that's a choice. That is a conscious choice. But what more important is that you are productive. You are productive in these two areas. It is more important, and I always mention about 24 plus 1. Is do more in that area than anything else. If you do more in these two areas, as I mentioned about relationship and career, that is your key. That is your big stone. Spend less time in gossiping, for example. Spend less time in comparing. Spend less time in things that are not productive. So that is, if you do that, you already one step ahead. Even today, you might experience that you are not balanced, but then you do one step more. If today you want to spend more time to experience, or even to go travel, for example, to experience and to be happier, and you think that you're happier, do more in that area, but don't let go the others, because others is also important. So I always feel that I don't believe that you can let go your career and you just want to just experience the world. Later on, you will find that it's very difficult to start in your career, and that is something that I always call the word consistent. So I encourage you, yes, you have the dream, you have a goal, go for that. The only thing I mentioned, this is good, don't let go that. The environment that you face is only a challenges. What more important is that you spend time on this area more and more, and I call the word called 24 by 1. The reason is because 24 hours plus 1 hour, 1 extra minute is also counted. Do one thing more in the area that you like to do, which matters to you.
All right, thank you for the answer just now. And I learned a new phrase today, strawberry generation. So we have another question from Joey. Does being happy means achieving everything, all this at its best, in relationship, financial, and health? Can the lower income with lower intellect people be happy too? Personally, yes. So, but what do you think about this?
Yes, as I always mention, it's all about expectation. It's all about commitment, and it's all about dream. At the end of the day, remember I mentioned that happiness is relative. Okay, you can achieve happiness. The rest of the factor is actually relative. So what I'm trying to say here is that if you have a lower income, so I always say it's not about how much you earn, it's about how much you save. That's more important. It's about how much. It's about more about how you make your money works. It's not about how much you earn, because you spend more. It's also no point. Okay, that's one. So lower income with a lower intellectual can be happy, because it's all go back to a simple life, which is expectation. You can also achieve happiness. Okay, and one of the things that I know, that whether a high income or lower income, that we cannot forego is health. Whether lower income or high income, health doesn't care. Health doesn't say that you are richer, you will be healthier. Health also doesn't say that you are poorer, you will be prevented from that. So, and I feel health is important in your happiness, because if you are not healthy, you will feel depressed too. Okay? And this is one of the key. The rest money is to me relative. You are right, because it go by expectation. The other one is relationship, and a lot of people also have a different expectation. So that's why I always go back to all this is relative. What is your relative and the equation? That's why I use the word equation. Okay, and each and every one of us have a different equation. Some of you got 100, some of you only got 10, some of you got 1,000, but they are all the same in the end because it's all equal out. So that is my answer, that yeah, you can achieve it. But one thing, don't forgo help, because it doesn't care whether you are richer or you're poorer. Okay?
All right, everyone deserves to be happy. So next question is from game. Chee Gay, how would you guide a pessimistic and highly negative person who likes to challenge authority and playing the devil's advocate in every situation? Thanks and regards.
Okay, so this is an area that I mentioned, that if you keep doing certain habits, you'll be good in doing that. And I always mention one thing, don't good in complaining, because you don't really keep complaining, you will be good in complaining because they're habit. So these people that is pessimistic and highly negative, they're already good in that. Okay, so they might be surrounding with negative people. But if you think that you are able to impact the life of others, which I do, spend the time. Spend the time. There will be a time they will listen to you. Go to what matters to them. What matters to them, they will change. So what is more important is that knowing them and what matters to them, they will change. Because I believe everyone wake up in the morning want to do a good job. Nobody wake up in the morning and say that I want to do a bad job. Nobody. Everyone, yes. So the only question is that how do we help them? And what matters to them? Focus on that. They will change one day. It will take time, but if you never give up and you believe, you will change. And I've seen that in many, many cases as a HR leader and as a friend to others.
Okay, we have come to the last question for Chee Gay. From employer's perspective, how can we create a happy culture from a current culture that is not so positive? And how do we encourage or empower employees to be more open to this change despite many engagement activities? By Dennis.
Okay, how do we create a happy culture? If you are in HR, you have what I call internal healer influencers like me. Okay, so I play a very important part to make sure that a happy culture in the organization. So you are in HR, you are the influencer. If you are the leaders, you are also the influencer. But if you are an employee, you can become a change agent. And that is what it starts. A multiplier of one will make that change. So what I'm trying to say here is that if you are already in a culture that is not a happy culture, you can make that. And of course, it's not easy. And I always tell people, if you have tried and you are not succeed, move out. You can't do it because it's out of your healer influence. Don't get sad and unhappy over things that you cannot control. You have a choice, as I mentioned. There are many, many organizations that will welcome you. Join them. Same goes to friends. That's one. And the other one is that how do we encourage and empower employees to be more open? Yes, if you are believing that, be a change agent. I always mention, be a change agent. Okay? And engagement is a booster only. If you know about HR, I always say you have a lot of engagement activities like outing, and so these are all booster. A short-term, what I call a short-term booster to make people happy, but it cannot last. So that is the reason why in a culture organization we need to empower, and to get empowerment is important because when you empower, it comes with engagement. And empower is also equal to a formula that I have. You will never able to empower your staff if they don't have capacity or capability again. So always build their capacity, always train them, always develop them, that they can be empowered by themselves. And when they are empowered, they will be engaged. Okay, that is the key for an organization to have an engaged staff, and which is true. The word empowerment is something that we want every one of us to be able to empower, do the right thing in the right way. If every staff can do that, the organization is proud to have you, because this is what will make a change to the organization. So be a change agent. If you think that there's a work that needs to be done, not only HR, you can make it. And that will make a lot of difference. A step by step, a small step will change. I have seen that many times. And that's why we love to have engagement champion, because they can influence the others. And the more they influence, the others will influence others. And we have a what we call a positive culture in the company, and it all make up of people. Okay, so that is my answer to this question.
Okay, thank you so much, Chee Gay, for the Q&A session as well as sharing session just now. So point is, be the change maker and be happy. If you're happy, everyone will be happy too. So, Chee Gay, one last sentence from you to everyone out there.
My last keyword, I have a few keywords. I always call consistency is one. Consistency behavior is what we need to do one step at a time, and don't compare. You will be happier.
All right, that's it from Chee Gay. Be consistent, be the change maker, and be happy. Thank you so much, Chee Gay, and hope to see you again in the future. And for you guys out there, stay tuned. We have one more agenda after this, and see you.